I'm a little bit of an addict, but not quite a junkie.
Dang, how did fall get over here? Like, look at this. This don't make no sense.
He says, I like my Jesus like this.
It was horrible. Dude is a machine.
What's up, everyone? We are back at the Mosaic Podcast in pencil, as we're calling it right now. We're kind of we're seeing how it feels.
It's in pencil.
It's in pencil. We're seeing how it feels. We could change the name. Yeah. Don't come at us. We're going to see how it goes for the next few weeks here. Well, if you're joining us live right now, not live, I just say that because we say it on Sunday sometimes. Join us live.
I like it. This can't be live, though, because we need to edit stuff out.
I know. We need to edit it out. But anyways, if you're joining us, we're glad that you're here. Today has just been a day already, man.
Yes, it has.
What time are we?
It's only 1.
It's almost 1 o'clock right now, but I promise you, it has been a day. So it's been a roller coaster of emotions. But we knew that we wanted to land on a topic that we felt like is super applicable. I think we're drawn to the application side of most things. Maybe, I don't know, I think there's some podcasts so I listened to this one podcast with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and it's very like astrophysics, and he brings on people who just talk about calculus and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I think one of the reasons why I'm drawn to it is because I can also fall asleep to it if I have to, because it's so above my, I don't know, mental capacity perhaps. Yeah, it's above me, but it's enjoyable in that sense. This podcast, I think it's more just application. We love application. We love 1 + 1 = 2.
Right.
Just easy, you know?
Yeah.
Practical, easy. I think you give great practical advice too, which is one of the reasons why I think people love your messages. So today, I think we wanted to kind of land on just, I wouldn't say a recap of Sunday. You know, we're going through our marriage series called Love Handles.
Relationship
series. Sorry. Called Love Handles.
Leaving out all the single people, just like a typical church person.
I know.
Leaving the single people out.
I'm sorry. Single people, single lives matter.
The Bible does not say 1/2 + 1/2 = 1. The Bible says 1 + 1 = 1.
Exactly.
So they're a whole person, Jonathan. They're a whole person. One of the things we started with is this idea that we use the word love so flippantly, you know, and it's just too much meaning jammed into that word. And looking at the idea that both the Greeks and the Jews had multiple words for love. I really loved the way the Hebrew words kind of built on each other, with the raya kind of love, that friendship kind of love, being a space where you could just have more of those. Mm-hmm. And then ahava, the covenant love, or the commitment level love, you're going to have a significantly less of those. And then dode being that mingling of souls, just being able to have one. The idea that at each level we have a capacity. You can't have as many as you want. You can't have a relationship with everybody. You are a limited commodity. Yeah. And literally just knowing that, or maybe I should say admitting that, should, I think, help a lot of people, just to say, I can't have a relationship with like literally every single person.
I can't do it all. It's funny because we are both pretty introverted. I would say, I don't know, maybe the majority of people aren't introverted. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. I'm sure there's a mix, but I feel like so I sat in your message, and I, like, one of my first thoughts as you were talking about this is you don't have capacity. I'm like, I barely have capacity for like 5 people. Right. Let alone, I don't know, knowing all the people who, you know, want to have a relationship, or you want to be friends with tons of people. And then there's some people, they're just so good at it. It's like, how do you even keep anything, you know, straight in your life as far as people and priorities and commitments and all that kind of stuff? So kind of give us the picture of those two people. Like, what are their struggles? How are they gonna how are they going to get through, I would say, or, what is the red flags, I would say? What are the red flags for the people who are very extroverted versus the people who are super introverted? What are the red flags? What do we watch out for? And what are some of the, I would call it like the easy temptations to fall into?
So from like, if I'm also an introvert, so I'm looking across the aisle at the extrovert here. So this is accusatory.
But your face right now, your face is like the perfect,
judgmentally.
it's the perfect, like the droopy eyes, the judgment,
right?
The judgment in your soul.
I will tell you though, the only one who I don't have that kind of an attitude toward is Scott Price.
Right.
Scott Price is the only person I can never ever be mad at him.
He's the perfect introvert. He never makes you feel bad about not being as excited about the human experience.
Yeah. So he literally has 5,000 Facebook friends. I checked. I only have 972.
But that's selective.
And I think I have, like, I'm a pastor. I don't say no to people. I mean, I say no to the ones that look like they're like scam artists, but like, I don't say no to anybody. Like, if you friend, and I only have 972. He has 5,000.
So what does that say? What are you trying to say here? Are you upset?
He's a better Christian than I am. I don't know.
You just mad? Like,
well, here's the thing. That's what's so weird about it, because we're different, and I can look at him and go, "Oh my gosh, he just has like so much more." It genuinely feels like he just has more love than
capacity.
I do. Yeah, like he has more to give.
Yeah.
Like when he says, "Hey, I'm going to visit this person," I'm like, "Who cares?" Like, I don't know why. Like, how do you even remember that person exists? Because you haven't seen them in like a year. For me, if I haven't seen you in a year, you cease to exist in my mind. That my capacity just is. So I think there's a danger in like assigning a moral value to that. And I don't think you can say, oh, just because he has a bigger capacity means he's better at XYZ than me. That's not true. He's just different.
Definitely struggle with that.
We do.
That
we
guilt.
do.
It's that.
It is.
Yeah. That if I'm not going to the party, if I'm not feeling good enough to go out and do things, or people are just draining. There is like that moral guilt, that moral pressure.
And by the way, I don't know if you know the definition of introvert extrovert. I think a lot of people think, oh, it means one likes people, one doesn't. What it actually means is extroverts are energized by a human experience, and introverts come away from it drained. We recharge on our own.
Yeah.
So it's not that we don't like people; it's that people drain us, and we need time alone to be able to recharge the batteries. So if I look across the aisle and I look at somebody like Scott, I would say in general the big risk there is probably that they spend too much of their relational currency on the low-level friendships, and they may tend to ignore the deeper ones that they should have.
It's hard to say no when you feel like everyone loves you, and maybe and especially if you feel like you can add value to someone's day or whatever, especially if you feel like you have a lot to give.
Yeah, right. So I feel like that's probably a consistent tension that they feel. And I'm guessing if especially when you got a marriage that's mixed as an introvert extrovert married to each other, my guess is in that relationship the tension is, let's go hang out with all these people, and they're like, but I just want to hang out with you.
The classic, I have everything I need here, with like puppy eyes.
Right. I'm good.
And you're a part of that.
Yeah, you're in that.
As my spouse,
you're in that world. It's a small world.
Why are you making me feel bad about that?
Right. And I'm guessing those are fights that happen a lot. I want to go out. I want to stay in.
Sound like you're speaking from experience.
Me and Lisa are. I would say so. I used to be hyper introverted. I feel like I've moved on that.
Yeah.
I had a professor in college. It was a spiritual formation class. We took spiritual gift tests. We took personality tests, and he pointed out. He said, Jesus was the perfect personality, as in he was. Right. He was, you call it like well-rounded. He wasn't extreme in anything. He was the perfect expression of everything. Yeah. And his argument was, as you grow as a Christian, you should probably, like if you're super extroverted, you're probably going to add to the introverted. If you're super introverted, you're probably going to add to the extroverted. And I want to say, at least in whatever level of spiritual growth I've had in my life, I have come out of my shell quite a bit.
Definitely.
And Lisa, I feel like, is the same. So we're a lot closer together than we used to be, just because I was so introverted. I didn't want to do anything.
I've definitely done a lot of growing in that area. I try to be preemptive as much as possible. That way it can seem like I'm a lot more extroverted than I am.
Right.
But Tara's definitely grown in this area. I'll be honest with you though. I think it was just kids. Like when you add kids like into the mix, you're just like a lot more tired. And I'm like, now you're an introvert.
we're gonna
And
stay
she's
in.
like, no, I'm not. But I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's cool. See, like you can kind of see what the
Kids-
other side is like.
Yes,
So
kids-
that'd be my advice. Just have kids. Just like, and then you're exhausted.
Did you
And
just-
then you're just an introvert.
Did you just say that a solution to marriage problems is have kids? Is that the advice you just gave?
It's like what was that, Jim Gaffigan or whatever? He's like, when you're drowning, it's like someone hands you a
Just
baby.
somebody hands you another baby, right?
You're like, that's what it's like having kids.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, that's my
that's
advice.
awesome. That'll
Yeah,
help.
it's
That'll
my
be
advice.
helpful. So yeah, I'd say like I said, the extroverts, they probably need to be very, very, very careful on not just wanting to fill their life up with that Raya level friendship.
How do we fix not being happy? You know what I mean? Like, what does it look like as far as, yeah, I don't know. The word priority has been a theme, I would say, in general. So let's talk about that. Let's focus on that. As like I said, I think this is one of those love covers a multitude of sin scenarios where like priority is a lot of times the first domino that falls.
For sure.
So let's talk a little bit about
So
that.
listen, remember when did we do the series on the Beatitudes? Remember it was called Happy?
Yeah, happy.
The whole point of that series that I said over and over and over again to the point that it was annoying to me, I hope it wasn't annoying to everybody
Sure.
else, was the idea that happiness is a byproduct, not a end result.
And
I feel like that's definitely, you take that principle, put it in marriage and say, hey, if you make the point of marriage your happiness, you're super not going to get it.
And you're going to be very unhappy
Yeah.
for a very long time.
And you're going to blame the
the
person
other person, right?
for
yeah.
not giving it to you. And they don't have it. They
Yeah.
can't carry that burden, man.
That's a lot.
It is. And so like that by itself, it's almost like a flaw in the question. It is a question people
Yeah.
are asking, but I'm like saying, hey, you can't even answer it because what you're asking is for another human being to make you happy on like a soul level. And only God can do that.
Absolutely.
And so back up from that question and say, so if you understand that, you can still have problem. You know, like even if you're like, God is my source.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm still
For
not
sure.
happy in my marriage. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's still true.
You can know some of those principles.
Yeah.
You can hold on to that. You can even struggle and be reminded and kind of come back to home base, but it still doesn't fix the fact that
Right.
I'm unhappy.
Right. And I think so in a relationship, especially I don't know, like as you go, when we first got married, when me and Lisa first got married, we lived in my parents' basement for 2 years. We had no, like, I was in school, I was in college. Literally, we talk about this a lot. I can't remember it. I can't remember the first 5 years of marriage. I can't remember life before kids. It's
What?
like it didn't happen.
What?
I don't know what we did with our time. I don't know what we did.
I do.
Played, well, yeah. That. And then
it was like, well, I guess maybe I don't know what this exposes. That was so bad that you forgot about it, or
we didn't have, no, like, it wasn't bad. I just feel like it's like a fantasy world now. Because my point is, as you go in marriage and in life, you gain more and more responsibilities.
Yeah.
One, when you have kids. Two, as like what? I was in college and I was overwhelmed. Forgive me if you're in college. I know it is overwhelming, totally. But now that I look back on that, I would love to have college Adam's
College,
problems instead of my own. So again, I'm sorry if you're in college. I know it is stressful. Nobody cares if you get straight A's. They won't ask you that when you go to apply for a
or
job.
at least if you want to work here, yeah. You went to college, you're out. You're not a part of this.
Yeah,
no.
right. C's get degrees. As you go, though, you have things just get added to your life, and honestly, that's a good thing, right? Like, okay, kids are a good thing.
It is a good thing,
Getting
right.
like moving along in your career is
Yeah,
a good thing.
right.
Looking like any community you live in at people saying, "Hey, you should lead this. Hey, you should be a part of this. Hey, you should," like those are all good things.
for sure.
But what that does is it starts to compete.
And compile.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a Lego in a
It
toilet, right?
It doesn't get smaller as life goes on. Your capacity stretches, which means more things fill that capacity.
Right, for sure. And I was, dude. It's funny you say that capacity thing. I was praying about that this morning. I was praying about my capacity, and I do believe God can stretch your capacity. And I think whatever your capacity was 5 years ago, it doesn't mean it's the same. I do think God can stretch that. But if we don't prioritize and protect time with the one person, that one person, then everything else will drown it out. They'll take last place, not first place, right? I mean,
this is it's like it's one of those models in the Bible where like God or Jesus will like flip an idea on its head and show the real meaning or show the the real structure of how it is. This is almost the picture I kind of am getting is like an upside down pyramid.
Yeah,
it's like
right. Yep.
Your spouse, your close friends, your close family, that kind of stuff, your job or your role at church or those kinds of things, and then at the very bottom in society, like I said, it's flipped. But for us as Christians, as people who want to have healthy marriages and healthy lives and healthy boundaries, those kinds of things, it's like, yeah, it kind of sucks in for some people or for some whatever, but really that's kind of the amount of energy we're talking about, the amount of emotional coins that we're spending on the rest of everything else, and we have it so backwards. We have it so flipped.
And that's why, it goes back to that idea of people either reading their life or writing it. Like, I think we can make individual decisions that by themselves seem sound, but when you add all the decisions up, all the things we said yes to, when you add them all up, it paints a picture that is impossible to maintain a healthy marriage relationship. You have overscheduled yourself. You have spread yourself too thin in all your other relationships, and now you're not giving time to the most important one.
Yeah. I remember in college, like thinking this same thing of I'm so overwhelmed, I'm so stressed. And I was like talking to my parents one time, and that's what they're saying. Like, something has to go. Something has to break. Yeah. You have to pick. And I remember being on the other side of that going, you have no idea what you're talking about. You don't know my life. There is nothing that can go. There is nothing that can, I can't just drop this class. I can't just stop going. I can't just stop showing up to this practice or whatever. But like,
well,
what's the alternative?
That would be my argument. If it's so hypothetical. Let's say you're married and you're sitting here going, oh my gosh, like we don't have enough time.
I just like drop your kids off somewhere. They live somewhere else now.
Well, that's one. But I would say in general, when people sit down and they look at a week or they look at a month and they're like, look at all this stuff. Like, so often people act like there's nothing they can do about that. And I think like killing the sacred cow is kind of like the thought that pops in my mind. Like those things that you're saying can't change. I just want to say, let's throw everything on the table. You can't drop your kids off. That actually is one that you probably shouldn't do.
That's an illegal.
That is an illegal. Someone will probably come get you. And then you'll have no free time.
Then you'll have no free time. Well, you'll have lots of free time.
That's true. Yeah, it depends on how you look at it. All your responsibilities will be gone.
All your responsibilities are
so if you're really that stressed, that is one option. But I would say in general, I think people act like we can't not do these things. And like I've been for a while, and again, I'm not trying to like irritate anybody. Like our podcast watchers are going to go down to zero. Everybody's going to leave the church. But like I feel like kids' sports have been structured in such a way that like normal life is impossible now.
It is, yeah.
And like I'm just learning this now with my older two, middle school and intermediate school. Now I've still got the younger two to pull through this stuff. Like it used to back in my day.
For real.
There used to be like, hey, you have a game and you have like a practice when you're little, and then like that's it. But now, and if you wanted to do travel ball, it would be real serious. Like, okay, we're gonna do this thing. Now it's like everything feels travel ball level.
Yeah.
And if you say I want my kids to play sports, then you're saying yes to an insane thing, like an insane thing.
And there's no benefit because your kid still isn't getting to play because they're horrible.
Right.
And now you have to deal with the social pressure of my kid's still not good. And
so not only are we sitting at a field for hours and hours, my kid sucks at the sport,
getting wet,
and he's just sitting on the bench over there. I'm watching him sit on the bench.
You can't even cheer him on. What are you gonna do?
What is it to cheer?
Hey, get some Gatorade for the kids who are really in there.
I like understand some of the parents that like complain about their kids not playing just because like this is a giant waste of time.
It's a giant waste of time.
But
sorry,
I feel like that's like my axe to grind. And again, there's nothing wrong with sports. I actually think kids' sports are important. I think it does help develop them. I just hate that we've all, like zombies, gone, yes, this is the way we will live life now. We're going to have our kids be obsessed with sports. Yeah. None of them are going to be professionals. Few of them are going to get scholarships. But we're all going to spend enormous amount of time sitting at fields.
Like they have a chance. So you're saying...
They don't.
So you're saying there's a chance.
There's none.
About one... It's actually worse than 1 in a million.
You know how much
actually worse than 1 in a million.
You know how my kids still have. You know how like when you were little, you thought your parents were awesome.
Yeah.
all of my kids still have it. The facade is not broken yet because Gideon said to Zeke the other day, Dad could have made it to the NBA if he really would have wanted to. And I'm like, I am a 6'2" white guy. Son, there are like literally
I am a white guy.
right, whatever.
Done. Over. Right there. That's all the reason you need. Go to your room.
But the thing, like, this is what, as the way he thinks, he's like, oh, Dad's really good at that. There are like 300 people who make it to the NBA, like right now, like literally 300. There are 300 million people in the country. Like, they don't make the connection of how incredibly rare
So
that
you're
is.
saying there's still a chance?
There's a chance. It's literally 1 in 100 million. But whatever.
Okay, we're getting off. We're gonna wrap this thing up here. So so I think you made one of the most important points is we're spending NBA time and we're not getting NBA benefits.
For sure.
Okay, that's the example.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
So let's break this apart. Give us just a few more minutes. What is the remedy? Because doing nothing isn't working.
No.
Because people are still unhappy
Right.
in their marriage. And doing what they're doing isn't working because people are still unhappy in their marriage. So we need like, I don't know, two solutions that's going to, okay, let's just say it's not going to fix it. We just did a thing. It's not going to fix it,
No.
but we need to take a step in the right direction, and a series of small steps in the right direction can feel like, okay, we're making changes. Go.
It is the beginning of a solution, not the solution. It puts you in a position to be able to have a solution, because if you don't do any of these things, you can't even begin to start. So yes, all that.
Yeah.
I would say there needs to be. Here, the first step is maybe the hardest. You have to make time to have a conversation about making time.
That is ridiculous and 100% true. You have to fight about the fight before you
literally
can fight.
I was just going to say we've thought about talking about making time for,
and now I'm mad at you because you tried to bring it up and I didn't like the way you did it.
Right.
And now I'm mad at you and now we have to fight.
or
about
you
the
looked
fight.
at your phone for a little bit too long after I
Yes,
started the conversation,
exactly.
so now I'm mad at you for not paying attention to me.
Making time to make time.
Making time to make time.
First
So,
domino that has to
A
fall.
conversation has to happen where you and your spouse sit down and say, our lives look like this. We don't like the way they look, and we're going to make some decisions to open up some time. And I don't know what that. Now I can't dictate this. You know, some people are like, "Oh, you have to." And I heard somebody say you have to have a date night every week. I'm like, how? Are you millionaires? Like independently rich, and you just, one, you can afford to go to Applebee's every week, and two,
Applebee's, slow down, man. I mean,
bougie.
We said rich, but not that rich. I mean, come on, man. Have some class here. I mean, Applebee's is that's at the top. Okay,
Dude, you get the-
let's go tailgaters.
Like five
Wendy's
boneless-
drive-through.
5 boneless wings with the burger right now, man. It's really good.
It's hopping over there. You get
but-
that dollar martini and
There it is.
the spark might come back. All that's all I'm saying.
It's coming back.
You might even make it home.
You're not making
okay?
it home. You're not making it home. What I'm saying, there is no rule. There is no, this is how much time and this is what it's supposed to be spent on.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of having a relationship with someone where you sit down and you say, how can we make time for each other? And then what are we going to do at that time? Is it going out to eat? Is it going for a walk? Is it something that you both enjoy doing
Pick
together?
something.
So one of the things, Scott had a parent night here a couple months ago, and man, like he had said this to me before, but it stuck in my mind again when he said it about kids, and it's true with parents too. He said quality time comes out of quantity of time.
Dang.
He said you can't just say, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, this is quality time.
Yeah,
you can't decide for it to happen.
Yeah.
He's like, those moments, when he was talking about kids, those moments with kids, like they just like all of a sudden you're driving home from practice and boom,
It just
you're
comes
having
out
a
of nowhere.
conversation. You're like, this is it. This is the one. It's the same way with your spouse. You can't just say, now we're going to have intimacy and we're going to talk about deep, like, man, like
30 minutes, intimacy.
1, 2, 3, go. Like,
Let's fight. We have 25 minutes.
Right. Timer.
How's that going to go? How's that going to go?
You do have to create some quantity, and then the quality will come out of that. And I think that's the goal here, is to say we're gonna push some stuff back, make some space, and know that the first time you might go, that was weird. Applebee's wasn't very good. It was just a weird time at Applebee's.
Yeah. Or especially if you have unresolved issues. Like it's not gonna it's hard to enjoy time with your spouse if things are unresolved. Right. And for some people, we're talking years and years and years of things either being swept under the rug or being unhappy or even wrestling with the thoughts of every other quarter of the year I want to divorce this person, and maybe we can make this work. Like that adds up, that piles up, and things become rocky.
For sure. I mean, that's a different case. They might need more than just Applebee's in that case.
What? Stop it. You're kidding, right?
I would say in general, I mean, this is always what's hard to me. I mean, when you're preaching, as I preach to more and more people, it's always difficult to give general advice because I know that like it's not going to apply to everybody.
Yeah.
And
not everyone's going to get what they really need.
Right. So yeah, if you have a marriage that's got some serious wounds from the past, dude, you probably need counseling, man. And then you're going to say, I don't have time or money to do that. Okay. Do you have time or money to get divorced? Because that's expensive.
Slow down. This is a little bit too real right now. We're trying to keep things light, positive, and K-love.
You said the word divorce before I did. You started this. But in general, if your marriage isn't that bad,
if it's bad but not,
or if it's just not good,
it's not good. That's better. That's a better place.
Right.
Yeah. That's
if you're not like, ooh,
we're not happy.
I don't have the warm fuzzies right now, and it's not great. I feel like just creating space where a relationship can happen is a huge piece of that. Part of the reason you're not happy is because you're running around like crazy. You only see each other like in maintenance mode, like, hey, this kid's going this way, and we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. It's
business
like,
talk,
this is
right,
fun. Yeah, we're business partners or roommates. That's all this is.
Yeah.
If you don't have time or space for anything else, and let's be honest, I'll also throw this in just for free. I don't know that like staring at a TV screen is necessarily quantity time either.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to have quality time? I mean, you can enjoy a show together, and if there's conversations about it, that's cool. But in general, if you're sitting on opposite ends of the couch watching TV, but also both staring at your own individual screen, there's three screens going on. There's always three screens going on. I don't think that counts.
If you're not crushing candy, what are you doing?
I have multiple levels of distraction going on right now.
This is gonna get like Inception. Like, this is how unhappy you are. You can't even sit in the same room, be distracted, and you have to have your personal distraction.
You have to have layers of distraction.
That's how much you hate your spouse. Right. That's how horrible they are.
I need at least 2 screens between me and you in order for this to work. It's really bad. It's really bad.
That's messed up.
One of the things I said on Sunday was the idea of a friendship being more of a shoulder to shoulder thing where you need to do things, but a marriage relationship is supposed to be more. There's pieces of it that can be shoulder to shoulder, but it's got to have the face to face element too. And face to face is not face to screen. That's face to face. You actually have to be interacting and talking.
Yeah.
And that. There needs to be space for that. Yeah. And maybe it is a walk. Maybe there is a shoulder-to-shoulder element of that. I would say I've said in past sermon series that guys are more wanting to do. Mm-hmm. They want to go bowling. They want to go for a hike. They want to want to be focused on something else, and something will still happen here.
Absolutely.
And typically, again, I'm stereotyping completely, but like ladies would be totally happy going to a coffee shop, drinking out of the same cup, and just having a deep conversation. And guys are like, that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
So you need to mix it up. You need to do both, right? But I guess I just wanted to throw that in. Like, I don't think, we spend plenty of time together. No, you don't. You spend time with Candy Crush and Facebook, and Instagram,
and you're in the same room,
TikTok.
But
you're in the same room, but that's not spending time together.
Definitely. Yeah. I would say one other thing that, and then we can kind of wrap things up. I would say one other thing that's definitely helpful in these kinds of situations is getting other people involved. Not in the bedroom. That's exactly.
Which level of friendship?
Never mind.
Which level of friendship are we on here? I told you that's 1, man. I said 1.
Why did that come out like that? That's not how I meant it at all. Sorry, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. What I meant is having people to hold you accountable, and also pushing you towards health in your marriage.
Yeah.
Instead of going to that person who you are saying, I'm not happy, and they're saying, let's talk about how unhappy you are.
Yes.
When they hear that, they're going, hey, that sounds like something that is a problem. Let me help you, or let me push you closer in your marriage, or closer to God, or things like that. So, having someone in your life, a friend, a pastor, someone who you can go to with problems or with, the truth, really, it's the truth. And they can say, hey, what are you doing to create space in your marriage or to get healthy or to find a counselor or whatever? And I would say that's just always the church's, I don't know, goal is that's what we're here for. We're not like a single unit of people who are healthy and not healthy. Like, we're a mix. It's all over the place, but we are all called. It's everyone's role to like be involved in each other's lives, to like push each other towards health.
I
and
like
healthy
that,
marriages.
man. I feel like what popped in my mind as you said, like, you need to have somebody help keep you accountable, was the same excuse they would use to say they don't have time for something is the same excuse they'd use to be, I don't even have time to have somebody help keep accountable to have time to do. Like, they're speaking of exception, they're like six layers deep of I don't have time for.
Yeah.
But there is something powerful. I think it is a biblical principle of bringing somebody into that and saying, hey, we have decided this is important. Help us keep me accountable in doing it. Because what will happen is they're going to shoot you a text and say,
for sure.
hey, did you guys do that? And you're going to have to voice the lame excuse. And it is lame.
Or the lie.
Or straight lie, right? But you're going to have to actually say or write down the reason that you didn't do it. And they're going to be able to say back to you, that's stupid, right? Like, you said you needed to do this. That is lame. Super lame. You cannot not do it. And you have somebody like that, and I feel like accountability, especially when trying to start something new, is vital. I agree with you. That's the church's job. You got to have somebody, ask somebody to help you make time for the people who are most important in your life.
As Michael Jordan says, stop it. Get some help. It was a McDonald's commercial, but it is applicable.
It's good. It's applicable here, for sure.
Yeah. So again, small groups. There's a men's group that meets every once in a while. I think there's stuff with women as well. Like, we're having a big well event coming up here. Like, it's not like it's not out there.
Yep. And if you've overfilled your life with the wrong relationships or just shallow, useless relationships, you got to cut in order to make room for the important ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
this is good. Well, hey, I hope you guys got something out of this today. I know I did. I think this is one of the things that it's a continual topic of conversation, and we try to do something like this every year. But like this, the marriage unit it's a mystery. Like, God made it to be, I would say one of the most impactful uses of ministry. If you're going to see boots on the ground, ministry happening, it happens in the marriage relationship and in the family unit. And so that's why it's such an important thing to the church, an important thing in ministry. And that's why if it's unhealthy, like in some ways, we're not trying to call you out, we're calling you up. You're not fulfilling your highest calling, your highest purpose in your marriage. And so that's what we want for you.
Can I end with a question?
Yeah, for sure.
So I will admit, I came up with the name for this sermon series, Love Handles, but I had multiple names.
You did.
You pushed for this one. Why did you like the name Love Handles?
It's kind of inappropriate.
Okay, never mind.
I think that was it. That was it.
We'll see you guys next time. I don't want to hear Jonathan's answer because it probably is inappropriate. So
yeah. All right, we'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.
As always, don't share, don't follow.
See ya.
Some people they really believe, they really thought we didn't want to get this out, but
it's supposed to be reverse psychology.
It's reverse psychology, guys. Get it together.
Whatever.
And get some help. We'll see you next time.